Friday the 30th of December 2022, in this final pod of the year, we discussed the future of Michael Appelton and our potential for championship survival as the pool narrowly lost out to Sheffield United in front of the Sky cameras at Bloomfield Road last night. And I'm John Espinal, and this is Seaside's podcast match reaction show. Blackpool 1, Sheffield United 2.
It's already changed the world. A small town from the north of England with a great tradition.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the final show of 2022. Final SEASIDE podcast reaction show, and Carey just opened up. Yes, it does look like we won according to that still on the screen. Someone might have drunk half a bottle of wine and put Blackpool 2, Sheffield United 1, but it's been kindly pointed out by Leanne over there, who's thankfully more on the ball than me. Just unmute Leanne before you kick off. There you go. You're not that on the ball, are you? 1-1.
I think some would prefer me on mute.
Couldn't possibly comment on that. A bit of a shitstorm caused on Twitter last night, but we'll come to that. Welcome back, Connor. It's been a while. You've been sadly missed, my friend. Thanks for coming on. Good to see you back.
Nice of you to say.
We've obviously with the sad demise of Mr. McGinley going over to the dark side, we are in desperate need of a man who's got his pen on the graph paper with regards to all the stats. So,
well, let me know when you find one. I'd love to speak to them as well.
Right, yeah. Give me their number as well. And welcome back, Pete. How are you doing? I think the only one festooned in tangerine this evening. It's a Timism, actually.
Always try and make an effort, you know.
Yeah,
Leanne looks like she's in one of those photo booths where you get your passport.
You don't want to know what my iPad's balancing me just to like try and get it up right. I'm having a nightmare.
She did show me that in the green room. Fair play to making the effort, Leanne.
Nightmare.
But yeah, the audio and video quality is better than the pink laptop that you were.
It's pretty though.
Yeah, that's all that matters, isn't it? Certainly in the terms of Blackpool football managers. Not very pretty though. Last night
Wasn't that bad. I'm going to start off. It wasn't that bad last night. I'm sorry, it wasn't. I've seen us play a lot worse. As I said on my tweet, you could not tell they were top three, we were bottom three, or top two and bottom two now as it is. We weren't that bad. We need new players. I'm not into this Appelton out. I can't make my mind up. I'm not saying I like him and like he's brilliant, but we need money spending. This January window now is massive, and we need new players. We did last time. We didn't really get them, did we? So
I think it was a case of back him or sack him on the last pod we did. I think that was the conclusion we came to. Connor, 2 1-1 draws, creditable 1-1 draws coming into this. Away at Cardiff, performance not that great. Hull we picked up, played quite well, and once again we had a player sent off to ruin the game. So they are games that we need to be taking at least one win from, though, really, weren't they?
Completely. I mean, fair play to Michael Appelton, always striving for excellence. He not only completed no-win November, he's now also completed no-win December as well. You can't sustain a survival campaign on the back of narrow draws and narrow defeats, sadly. Like Leanne, I did see a lot of positives from last night's game. I thought we were the better side at times throughout the match, although still not great. And I came out of the stadium feeling slightly less sceptical of Michael Appelton than when I went in, which I guess is a net positive. There were things I could believe in what I saw, but it still feels like the situation is untenable and something has to change. Whether that is player as a new manager, I don't have any confidence that if we carry on like we are, we're still going to be in this division next season.
And Pete, over to you. Just a bit more of the pre-match amble. 3 points from 24 thus far. Obviously, 3 points from 21 before we played the game. Not a great record from Appleton. Didn't feel you want much confidence going up against a team like Sheffield United before the game. I know a lot of apathy in the stadium.
Was anyone really expecting us to get anything last night? But like everyone else, I thought we played really well. I thought it was a good game as well. It wasn't, but like Leanne said, he needs some signings and we need some experience. We don't need a load of kids signing this January. We need some proper, mature footballers.
We still miss Keogh. I know I say it every time. We never replaced him. Egg Potato's been crap since he's gone. I'm sorry, but he has. He's not been the same.
It was good last night.
Yeah, he was all right last night. But it's like even the last couple of games, though, Williams, I proper slated him at first. And the last couple of games, he's picked up a little bit. But we still need the experience. Yeah. And
we need that defensive midfielder that we've been needing for 2 years. Can't count Stewart or Bridcut because they just don't play, and Bridcut's new anyway. That it's unforgivable that we haven't got that one player still who would drive the team and protect the back four and also give license for the two in front.
So the key words are mature, experience, and
money.
Look who's
Google. Talking of mature experience and money.
As if by magic the shopkeeper appeared.
Why are you all drunk tonight?
Get your boots on, Tim.
That's a Mr. Ben.
I thought you were talking about Dougal, John, when you were eulogising there about the defensive midfielder we needed.
Covered 10 seconds.
I was thinking of you actually, Tim, yesterday. The game I was watching, midfield. No, not in that way. Men against boys kind of thing, and I thought this game is crying out for Kenny Dougal in the middle. And obviously,
it's a bit bizarre. When he didn't play him at Hull, I thought he's resting him and he's just trying to sort of manage his squad. But then we didn't pick him again last night. I thought, what? Because you're playing it. Listen, we're playing against a quality side in Sheff. They had a £22 million player on the pitch. Let's get it right. So we're always up against it. So I thought playing the two young lads in the middle left them very exposed. And listen, I know Dougal's a bit Marmite for some people, but I can't believe he didn't play.
Connor, so if you look down the team sheet, which was Grimshaw, Connolly, Appetite, Husband, Thompson, Patino, Carey, Poveda, Beesley, Medine, and Yates. Sky with their graphics, we're trying to work out what kind of formation it is. I think you're kind of best placed on these sort of matters to comment. What do you think was going on there?
I think basically he's trying to line it up as a 4-3-3, bringing strangely Poveda in not on the wing, putting him as kind of a central attacking midfielder, and instead putting Beesley out kind of on the left wing initially,
which is mental. Which is the most mental thing ever.
Yeah, and I kind of looked at it on the pitch when I first saw that's what he was doing, and felt like, oh, this feels like flailing. This feels like desperation. This feels like trying to grapple for anything that will work.
You got to love Connor's pros when the rest of us just went, "What the fuck?"
Pros.
I thought it might be a 4-4-2, still a 4-3-3. But actually, I think when the game started, you saw why he'd put Beesley on the left wing. I think he had a bit of an advantage physically against Jaden Bogle that led to some early success. So I'm not calling this lineup a complete piece of shit yet.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, we all said it was we played well.
Anyone else got any comments on the lineup before we get into the Seaside 7?
I think the only thing, just to follow up on Pete's, I don't think anybody's doubting the commitment of the team and that the players are giving all that they can. But it's moving the chess pieces around on the the deck while the Titanic's sinking, isn't it? It's where the problem is we're playing such good sides that we've got to be at our optimum at all times, and we've got ever reducing personnel to do it with. So I don't think, when we have a bit of a joke, Pete, I don't think we're ever. I thought we played well last night. I know I've sort of joined a bit late. I've missed any comments before, but I thought we played well last night, and I was quite satisfied with the performance. Never thought we'd get a point off Sheffield United last night, to be fair.
I did initially. I didn't initially, sorry, but then first 10 minutes, I thought, yeah, we're going to get a point here, hopefully 3. Because we just seemed on fire at first. It started off really, really good. And like Dom Thompson, again, getting so much grief. Yeah, he made it. The goal wasn't his fault. I'm sorry. Sonny Carey slipped with the ball. I'm not saying it's Sonny's fault, but he slipped with the ball. And every defender then were not, it wasn't just him. They all couldn't keep up with him. It was a shitty goal, don't get me wrong, not from their point of view. But
let's rewind it, Leanne. Let's just rewind. I don't want you jumping the gun.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Let's go. Good first 10. You can have your rant in and the next 3 points. So bottle it up. Wind yourself
up. It was a
up.
good first 10 minutes, though.
Yeah. Connor, good first 10 minutes for Blackpool.
I think good couple of kind of half chances, a few statements of intent. You know, like that shot from Poveda. I don't think that was ever going in. But it made everyone sit up and think, hang on, we could get something here. And I do think Beesley in particular was really excellent on the left in that first kind of 10, 20 minutes. He won kind of aerial battles against Bogle, their right wing back, and Medzovic, their kind of tall, lanky centre back, really, really well. He just kind of seemed to dominate them aerially and give us that additional outball that wasn't just Medine all the time. And I think that might have been why we felt a little bit more positive in that first 20 minutes or so. We did give up one chance to their centre-back, Medzovic, kind of right square in the middle of the box, I think in like the 7th or 8th minute. And we're lucky he's a centre-back, otherwise it would have been a goal. He just couldn't get it out of his feet fast enough. But really, really positive, It felt like we were finally on the right tracks after so many games of discontent.
Did anyone really feel we were going to keep that up for the entirety of the game, though? Leanne did.
I did, yeah, because it was positive. After reading, when you read Twitter constantly and you see all the negative and all the moaning, and then we started like that, it was like, oh yeah, come on. And like I said earlier on in the green room, I genuinely sort of went into the game in two minds. I was thinking, right, do I want us to win? Obviously I want us to win, but then I was thinking, oh, if we lose, will Appleton get sacked? And that's, to even want that is just absolutely ridiculous. So I was just like, no, I do want us to win, sod it. And like, yeah, that first 10 minutes, I thought, oh my God, we're actually going to possibly get 3 points here if we carry on.
Do you think we're at that stage now where people, I think we've all been there, where you actually want your own side to lose, so it forces a managerial change? And I think we all have been there at some point in our football supporting careers.
Yeah.
I think there are people getting into that mindset now, aren't there?
Without a doubt. And that's why I sort of quickly snapped out of it, because I thought, why would I ever want... The only time I ever wanted Blackpool to lose was when I started going for like 5
during the boycotts, yeah.
Yeah, that was the only time. So no, I don't want us to lose. And people need to just get on board, whoever's the manager, who is genuinely going to come in now and make this team win. The championship is so tight anyway. What were Preston last night before they lost? Were the 8th?
All their fans are booing them as well, apparently.
The 14th now. He's so close to that table. Yeah, they changed
Look at
it's ridiculous.
Huddersfield.
Look at Huddersfield.
Yeah.
So, just give the guy... I know people are going, oh, give him a chance. No one has given him a chance. They've slagged him off since day one. He goes to clap the fans. He gets loads of shit. He doesn't go and clap the fans. He gets loads of shit. Support the frigging team. I was watching in the comfort of my own home last night because I didn't want to take Jasmine out so late. And I feel like sometimes you see a bit more on telly because of the replays and stuff. But I was told as well, the fans were singing, you're getting sacked in the morning. I'm sorry, if I was a player and I was playing that. It's like with any job, if someone's singing that about your manager, it's just so bad. They just need to get
Can I have a rant at this point?
Yeah,
Go on,
go.
Tim.
Because to be fair, I said this in the chat earlier. We have just for those as well as a patron chat. We have a Seasiders podcast chat, and I didn't think I was going to make it tonight because I was at the vagaries of British Rail or whatever they call themselves these days, and I had to say when I heard probably 25% of the crowd singing that, I was disgusted. I thought it was absolutely appalling. You got the lads out there giving it plenty, and to be fair, even though it was cruel that second goal because we came out in the second half, and I deliberately, a lot of the lads stayed in the Moretti, finished the beer. I deliberately left because I wanted to be down there for when they came out because I felt they deserved our support last night, particularly based on the first half performance. And I thought we'd really have a go at it, and then to have that happen and go 2-0 down was tragic, really.
Yeah.
But then to hear that, I was actually embarrassed. I was embarrassed for them, not for me, because I wasn't doing it and the people around me weren't doing it, but it was embarrassing. And I think whatever you think about Appleton, you can't do it in the game. It's listen, we had some challenging times during Not a Penny More, but we're in a different scenario here. And whatever you think about the manager, you do not come out with shit like that. And sorry, I'm going to say, because that's what it is. You do not come out with stuff like that in the middle of a game when your players are on the pitch trying to get back in. And the irony was, 1 minute later, we scored, and they're all changed.
Yeah, exactly. But that's how fickle our fans are.
It's the definition of fickle, Ilan, exactly. Anyway, rant
so
over.
Bad. No, I liked that ranting. Do it again. Let's slag
I think
Google
the
off.
pro-
No, I'm joking.
I think the problem is-
You won't have a rant. You won't have a rant on that subject matter, I'm afraid, Leanne.
But no,
You'll
they
be at
do.
loggerheads.
It's like a lot of our fans feel like they're entitled, and I don't know why. At the end of the day, football is football. You play shit, you play well, you win some, you lose some. For me, as long as the team try, okay, yes, it's a points game, and I know I've just had a look at the comments. Sorry, and somebody said it's about the points. Yes, it is. I agree. We don't want to lose every week. We want points. But last night they tried, and I was gutted for the team.
Listen, I went to I don't know elsewhere. I went to Hull on Boxing Day. That's another story. There's a tale to be told there. But you turn up at their, it's a 25,000 seat stadium. They've got, bear in mind they were just 2 points ahead of us. They've got 20,000 fans there. We are competing with teams who've got greater resources than us, and we've got to realise that. And as much as you want your managers to book the trend, sometimes they're not going to be able to do it. And
Hull were crap as well.
They were, and we should have beat them.
Shocking.
And there's, and if, and it's all if buts and
We would have if we hadn't been down to 10 men.
But exactly. But we went to Sheffield, we went down to 9 men when we would have got
just
an
like
extra
Sheffield
2
United.
points. We go to Wigan and almost certainly would have won that game had we not had Peteta sent off after whatever it was, 13 minutes. They're not even bloody towards the end of the games. He's sending off, so they, and then we get, and it was exactly the right sub to make at Hull. I know we're not really focused on Hull, but to be fair
That's
to
6
Appleton,
more points we'd have.
he made exactly the right substitution, and that idiot Thornley, rather than stay on his feet, dives in and I'd rather concede the goal because we could still have won the game. But
Or leave that to Grimmy, or leave that to Grimmy because Grimmy's
exactly,
quite good
because
at
it was a 50-50 with Grimmy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I feel sorry for Appleton because if he'd had those 7 God, I can't add up now, 7 points. If we had those 7 points, we'd be above the Nobbers. And that's
fine,
the reality.
It's fine lines, isn't it? Fine
lines. And that has nothing to do with Appleton. That we've had 6 sending offs, the most in the division. It's
Appleton's fault,
barking
apparently.
mad.
Everything's Appleton's fault.
Hang on a minute.
Well,
Steve's in the chat just said Appleton has to take responsibility for the indiscipline. Well, no, not really. What can you do about Thornley doing that? What can you do about Peteta just going for the ball and mistiming a challenge?
It's not in discipline, though, is it?
What can you do
bad
about
challenges.
I know that's exactly what I'm saying.
It's not in discipline.
That's what I'm saying. What can you say about that manager at Sheffield, the referee at Sheffield United sending off all our players?
Yeah, well, I don't buy that. I think
it's just personal.
Somehow Blackpool have ended up with a squad that is twice as unruly or chaotic or bad-tempered as any other squad in the league. That feels like a stretch, I think the point is we have so many red cards is because structurally Appleton is not able to well drill a side kind of defensively and not able to get the players to operate as a well-oiled unit. So players are left exposed in these 1v1 duels where they have to make decisions or have to be perfect in their technique, and they're naturally not. And so, in those situations, they may end up making the wrong decision and we get sent off as a result. Like, yes, in that moment, the player has made a failing or made a mistake and they need to own that. But they're in that position because tactically, Appleton seems unable to set us up with any kind of defensive solidity.
Okay.
I think it's because we've got a shortage of players, though.
It's an interesting take on it, Connor, and very well put.
It was also interesting to note last night, if you notice, Sheffield United got the fouls in early. And I think probably we're a bit naive sometimes. I think it's sort of basically the point Connor's making, in that, a good defender would have done something to the Hull player, for example, 5 seconds earlier before he gets clear. And before then, he's in a situation where he's got to do, a foul that's going to lead him to being sent off. And Sheffield United were at that all night last night, And they never got. I don't think they've got a booking for any of them, but they got the fouls.
With no yellow cards last night, it was astounding.
It's incredible, bearing in mind the number of times particularly them. I thought, and listen, it's part of the game, and I've got to say, I thought they did it incredibly well.
Tim, they've obviously got a very good excess rating. The Sheffield United players, are rated on the expected shithousery. Okay, let's move on, Pete, to point 2. Shite second 10. From good first 10, Shite second 10. Sheff United really showed the class, the ability they have on the ball, and they really turned the screw on us, and it was no surprise to see them go in the lead. When a £22 million player, Sandje, what come his name? Not Sandje, Sandje Berge, finished with a good work from, what was it, on Ndiaye on the right hand side. Not a lot you can do with that about, but I think Charlie Adam was a bit critical of Sonny Carey for not closing down Sandje sooner.
Yeah, I think Sonny Carey's at fault for not coming back and tracking back kind of his midfielder into the box. Kind of there's a failure of man marking there. But there's also James Husband not trusting the men behind him. He positions himself slightly further back, trying to stop the cutback. Trying to stop the ball across the box, rather than stepping up and kind of getting close to the oncoming runner in Sandje Berge. And as a result, Sandje Berge has so much space. Like, in that situation, James Husband needs to step up, close down the man who's free in the box, and trust that everyone else in the box can win their 1v1 battles as well. But instead, he decides to try and play it safe, stop the ball across the box, leaves a man free, and that man scores. So again, it's as a collective defending, both Sonny Carey and James Husband made mistakes or weren't sure what to do. Again, I'm sympathetic to James Husband because he's a left back and not a centre back. And, those are very new decisions he has to make. Yeah.
I think they nearly scored just before that with a very similar sort of move as well, when it just clipped one of the defenders and went past the post. If that hadn't clipped the defender, I think that would have gone in as well. But like I say, it was only a 10-minute spell. It wasn't, it was going to happen at some stage in the game. Unfortunately, they scored in it, and we could have scored in the first 10 minutes ourselves. But we didn't let it carry on like we have in some games this season, where we've just sort of capitulated for half an hour, 40 minutes. It was 10, 15 minutes maximum.
Yeah.
And then
Peter, do you not think, though, sometimes you've just got to say that the opposition have scored a great goal? I think we can analyse our defensive frailties, and we have them. There's no doubt we've got our defensive frailties. And I take Connor's points on, but sometimes I just think they carved us up, and they scored an exquisite goal. And I actually thought at the time, not saying this just with the benefit of hindsight, at the time I just said that's a great goal. And sometimes you've got to just take that on the chin. And we are playing good teams. There's a lot of Premier League, some of those players in that Sheffield United team would make the Premier League squad, wouldn't they? And how many of ours would actually make it? I think somebody said it in the comments. How many of ours would make an upper half of the championship squad? The reality is very few. So I actually just thought it was a great goal, and actually, I think sometimes I appreciated it as a good goal. I didn't really. I think you can always look at somebody who could have done something, but you got to look at that.
I think the difference.
They carved us up well. They carved us up well. That's the point I'm making.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to happen at some point in a game, and it happened once. They did it a little bit beforehand, but to be honest, if you analyse the whole game, they didn't destroy us. And that was a Premier League quality goal for me. And I just think second one's a different gravy. We'll come to that. But the first one, I thought it was quality.
That winger taking it to the byline of the box, cutting it back for an oncoming midfielder to score is a goal you see Man City score every Saturday of every week.
Exactly.
It's not a goal you see Blackpool score, is it?
It was just time to perfection.
Just think we need more positivity and we need to buy players, and I think we'll be fine.
We need Feeney and Ndiaye, Leanne. That's what we need.
No.
Ricky Burns and Tommy Hutchinson.
Ndiaye. He was absolutely crap.
Clone Gary Medine.
I do like Feeney. We need
Chris
players. We need money spending on players.
4-4-2, Feeney and
Tony
Ndiaye.
Diamond, Chris Nab-
Keep us up. Right, let's move on. Switch. What do I mean by this? Beesley and Yates. Oh, sorry, Beesley and Yates. It was
I can
Beasley
see why you did that.
Yeah, very good, eh? Beesley and Yates, Connor. Switching from left to right. What was he thinking? Why did he do it?
Bogle, their right wing back, he's a bit more of a rampaging offensive fullback than Stevens, who they had on the other side.
Thompson as a weak link on there because they were getting joy time and time again down that right hand side?
I don't think. I think Thompson is maybe a slightly weaker link than Callum Connolly, but I don't think Thompson had a bad game last night. I think there were actually some moments where defensively he was really impressive. There's one where he pretty much runs across the entire width of the pitch to make kind of a last ditch into challenge, and it's exceptional defending. So apart from maybe I thought it was okay apart from some sloppiness in possession. I think presumably Michael Appelton just saw that maybe Jayden Bogle was having a little bit more joy than Stevens on the other side, who's maybe Sheffield United's less attacking fullback. And Michael Appelton, maybe in a slightly negative move, wanted to adjust for that in his personnel. But I think, as well as maybe making us more defensively secure, I do worry that made us less of an attacking threat because Beesley was dominating Bogle in the air when we had the ball. And by switching and putting him against Stevens on the other side, we were just losing one of our outlet balls, and we became, as we often do, incredibly reliant on Gary Medine, who was having to beat, Clark, which is quite a difficult battle time and time again. So I think if we're looking for a reason for why we were maybe quiet from 30 minutes until the end of the half, I think we were probably trying to adjust to that move and the fact that now Gary was our only real kind of physical outlet ball that we were winning semi-regularly.
I think Yates was quicker than Beesley last night. I think that's why he did it. He was all over Beesley. Beesley's not, to me, what did he break his leg? Still getting his fitness back, isn't he? But it did make sense at the time, but like Connor just said.
He's also got the touch like a fairy elephant, hasn't he? Was it the ball that who pinged the ball across? It was a sublime pass
Patino.
from right to left. And Beesley had nobody on him, and all he had to do was just bring it down, and it was like.
But he's not had much match time, has he? Really?
No. And listen, that's I give him the benefit of the doubt there, and it's a valid point that he hasn't had a lot of football.
He hasn't.
I'm not quite sure his championship standard yet.
He shouldn't be out there anyway, Tim.
Him about egg potato, didn't they?
Beesley shouldn't be out in that position. Neither should Jerry Yates.
No, they shouldn't. Hence why we need wingers, because we need to spend money.
Why are we playing a 4-3-3 with those players in those positions? Stupid.
And listen, if you wanted to play 4-3-3, you've got the option of Hamilton, haven't you, on that left where who could have started. I'm not his greatest fan, to be honest. But
he's done all right though, Tim, this season.
He has in recent weeks. To be fair, he has. I think he's making a better impact coming off the subs bench. To be fair,
yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And he played against
You're
Preston,
basically
though, didn't he?
playing a young Gary Medine at left or right wing, and it's not going to work, is it?
Although I thought
Not
Beasley
really.
got
Gary
in
Medine,
some
what
good
do you mean?
positions last night.
He's played well. He's a young player, isn't he? With height.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant like Gary Medine years ago then or something like.
No. What I'm basically saying is you've got a young version of Gary Medine, and you're basically sticking him out on the wing to basically put a sticking plaster over the problem.
Yeah.
And the
but I feel
reality
like
is
he's doing that.
it's compromised, isn't it? It's compromised from the start, and you're going to get scenarios like we got where if Poveda had been out there,
Yeah.
he'd have brought it down on a sixpence and gone straight at them, wouldn't he? That's the reality. Or if it'd been Bowler when Bowler was with us, or even Corbyn or whoever it might be. I'm not sure CJ Hamilton would necessarily have brought it down on a sixpence, but it's a compromised position. And we're going to have it when we keep trying to shoehorn players who should be centre forwards into winger
because
roles.
we need players. That's every.
Well, we
basically point where you don't know where to put people.
He basically cannot play this 4-3-3 with the current squad. Connor, give us your thoughts on this.
I think
why
the
we're playing a 4-3-3 with these players.
We do have wingers. His problem is that none of them are fit. You've got Poveda. Corbyn seems to have an injury. Keshi obviously has kind of persistent injury troubles for a while. And CJ Hamilton just isn't very good. He can do a job, but I wouldn't want to rely on him as a starting championship winger every week, much to kind of Tim's point around him being an impact, maybe bench sub, a finisher of games. He breaks the hearts of everyone in Preston, then maybe an out and out starter. But yeah, I don't think we work in this 4-3-3 at the moment. I think we've not got the players for it. I think Appleton is trying to shoehorn his style and be quite rigid in his style, having kind of technically dribbly wingers who can beat people 1v1 when we don't have many of those players fit, and probably sold our best one in the summer anyway. And that's always going to be a challenge.
It's the paradox of installing a 4-3-3 manager to take over a squad of what was effectively either a 4-4-2 or 4-5-1 squad, isn't it? In that there's going to be at least a 3-window period of transition, and it was a gamble. It's a massive gamble, and basically we haven't got the players. And Connor put it far more succinctly than I did.
Let me move on to the next point, which I've entitled as sloppy point 4. Sloppy in possession and giving the ball away all the time. I think this is indicative of this. The players that were playing in this system that we don't.
We don't even, despite Michael Appleton's best efforts, we don't play like a side playing a 4-3-3 does. We don't have neat possession triangles, and technical interplay and all that stuff that the 4-3-3, when it became really popularized from Spain, kind of involved. You look at how quickly we move the ball up the field. You look at the number of long balls we play. You look at the number of passes we play, in each sequence. We're really fast and we're really direct, and we're playing more like a Luton or a Birmingham or a Millwall. We're not like a neat Swansea side or, Company's Burnley. But we don't have those players. We don't have like the fast physical players that, say, a Luton have. There's just a real mismatch between how we set up and the players we have, and then how we actually play as well.
Have we got the players for a 4-4-2 though? Not sure.
We've got Yates and Medine up front, haven't we? There's 2 for starters. We've got Poveda. We've got CJ on the wings. Shopping trolley when he comes back. Dougal in the middle. Carey. Tino. Yeah, I think we do. And I think we need to be pragmatic to get us out of this mess. Which moves on nicely to point 5. Tomo's Christmas present. Leanne, let's come to you on this. This is your moment. Am I being a bit harsh on here? McAtee's run the length of the pitch after Carey's slip. Unchallenged into the box, and Thompson didn't come across to cover his man, which I thought was criminal.
I don't know. I think if Sonny hadn't slipped, it wouldn't have made as much a difference. He wouldn't have scored, I don't think. But I mean, it depends which way you look at it. Look at it from a Sheffield United point of view. It was an all right goal, wasn't it? Yeah. It did well.
Some people were digging out Grimmy a bit for his positioning. Anyone else think that?
No.
I'll to bow out because I've not watched it back.
Steve Hutchins just said in the comments in defence he was marking a run at the time. Yeah, he did, Steve. Yeah, I did see that. But surely you've got to play the percentages there and come across and cut out the runner, because you've got to be thinking this guy's through on goal and he's going to get a shot away. So you've got to put a man in between that man and ball. There.
But it's catch-22, isn't it? If he'd have done that, he's left the man unmarked then as well, hasn't he?
Well, yeah.
So he'd have got
you always go. Listen, then you always go to the man on the ball. If you when you're marking somebody, if somebody's coming down the other side and you're the only person between that, you've got to go across. You have to do it. It's basics. You don't even have to think about it. For most people, wouldn't even think about it.
I agree. I do agree with that. And then had he come and marked him and the guy passed it to the guy that Thompson had left unmarked, he'd have got shit either way, wouldn't he?
Well, no, I don't think he would, because I think you're between the devil and the deep blue sea there, aren't you? Because you've got to go, and if the player then passes to the man you were previously marking, I don't think you can be criticised for that. I think at the end of the day, you have to take the nearest man. You have to take the nearest man.
No, I'm with Leanne here. Like, McAtee is left-footed, which I think is one relevant piece of information. And if Thompson moves across and closes him down, and McAtee gets that ball off, passes it from left to right with his left foot, which is quite easy to do, Grimshaw's position.
Do you think he knew McAtee was left-footed, Connor?
Yeah, I do. He is a professional fullback. Part of his job is knowing what foot his man uses. Like, all professional fullbacks do that as part of their match prep.
He'll know.
And if he'd passed it, and if McAtee had got that ball off, Grimshaw's positioning was all wrong, and it's a tap in for the man who receives the ball.
Really?
Whereas Thompson, if he's marking his man, McAtee can't play that pass. He's got to try and hit it with his left foot. Across goal normally is the shot you would expect, which is a harder shot to make. And again, Thompson is trusting that Grimmy can handle that with a 1v1. Instead, what happens is McAtee does a really, really fantastic finish, kind of toe pokes it with his left foot into the near post, which again, isn't the shot you normally expect strikers to make in that hing. And Grimmy is left kind of stranded, unable to cover his near post. Connor, you expect a goalkeeper to cover his near post. So I think Thompson, I can defend that decision from Thompson. I can see why he made that decision, and it didn't work out for him. But again, he's had to make a 50-50 gamble because structurally he was left in a 4v2 situation, and whatever he did, somebody was going to be free.
Very articulately put, but complete bullshit.
He explained it better than I did.
What he should have done. It's obvious what he should have done.
I was going to say, Pete, come on. What?
He should have gone straight across, taken him out, taken his legs from him,
got sent off.
Yeah, like we do. It's the Blackpool way.
You should have clotheslined him.
Yeah, absolutely. Should have just taken him right out. Bastard. We haven't had
Connor, with your expectation of all professional players having a nice encyclopedic knowledge of the strongest foot of their opponents.
They don't need an encyclopedic knowledge. They just need to go on Wikipedia 2 days before their game, realise who they're probably going to be playing against, and look up what their strong foot is. Like
maybe
even Don Revie had dossiers on players, didn't he? That was 50 years ago.
McAtee may have been one step ahead playing the chess game and edited his own Wikipedia page to say, I am right-footed, in the hope of, in the situation where I am one-on-one on the left-hand side. Grimmy's obviously from Man City, and McAtee's on loan from Man City. So he should have known he was going to put it there, or should he?
Or maybe.
I think Grimmy and McAtee would have played together.
It assumes they're going to go across him into the far post. That's what you. If you're playing your percentages, that's what you're going to assume is going to happen. So I think.
Let's just hope Maxwell's not fit this week, because he'll be getting dropped instantly, won't he? Again for that.
I think Grimmy's been great since he's come back as well. To be fair.
Grimmy
there's
statistically is one of the
no-
best goalkeepers in the league. I've no
He's
idea why he isn't our
amazing.
first choice.
But Appleton doesn't like him.
I think because he called him out when it was dropped. I think.
Oh, he's
reading
never
between the
called their
lines.
manager a wanker. Gosh. Obviously, I haven't, but
David Beckham, Yap Stam worked out well for them.
Listen, if every manager got called a wanker by a player and never played him again, then they'd have a very, very thin squad of players.
Maybe that's what's wrong.
Where were we?
Speaking of maybe sensitivity among the managerial staff, I'm not sure if anybody else picked up that there was a couple of extra stewards dressed very smartly, like some kind of outside outfit, in their nice black suits and shiny shoes. There was an extra 2 of those stood by the kind of gates between the stands and the dugouts. And on my way out, I just kind of casually asked them, not seen you before, kind of what's the backstory, etc. They said, we've been hired to provide extra security. I'm like, oh, okay. Is that for Appleton because of all the abuse he's getting for the fans? And they're like, yeah, pretty much. So the club or Appleton are now sufficiently worried about fan response that they're hiring extra security for the dugout.
Not good.
that's really bad. There was a banner in the ground as well, wasn't there?
Yeah. The atmosphere in the ground is really changing and not for the better.
Because people aren't getting behind the team.
Did anyone hear the Sheffield United fans singing?
How do you change that? When people, because they've thought a lot of those supporters have felt like that since before he stepped into the ground.
I thought the North was quite good last night.
It was. You could hear them on the telly.
I don't think the rest of the ground joined in the way that they have.
The
they
South
were
looked
doing.
half empty, and so did the West. The North looked absolutely rammed and sounded really good last night.
And apparently, it all kicked off in the family stand as well, didn't it? Somebody unfurled the Appleton out banner, and somebody else.
Pathetic. I'm sorry, but I'd be barring him if I was in charge. Brett Garrity, if you're listening, check your CCTV, get him out. We don't want people like that in our ground.
Elon Musk wouldn't allow that.
No, he wouldn't. And neither should we. Why do we want Appleton out?
No, he wouldn't allow the banning of people for free speech.
We need to get
free
behind
speech,
the team,
free
the
speech,
manager.
Leanne. I do agree with free speech, but I do think
there's a time
with
and a
stuff
place
like
for
that.
it.
Going back to the comment, but if there's a time and a place. Do it
Yeah,
after.
there is.
Hold your banner outside the ground or something, or hold it up after the game, but not when the game's going on. It's like tragic.
Dan 1953, those people in the West won't be throwing the flasks. Waste of money, that security.
They confiscated my prawn sandwiches on the way in last night as well. I was devastated.
they?
Yeah.
Your sandwich?
Why?
I'm joking.
Oh, right.
I had to show my.
Just say,
You get like a little
food off me.
little thing to put on in the Moretti, and you have to show it when you go in. And this young kid, he's like on the way out. Can I see your lanyard? Whatever it is you put around your wrist. Can I see your thing? It's like, why do you need to show it going out? Happened again, coming out half time. It's like,
Do you know,
but I
Tim, when
noticed
was
even in the North, there was quite a lot of police, wasn't there, in the North?
That's good then, that they're stepping up security, because people were probably sneaking in, weren't they?
Well, maybe they were, but there was.
Plus, you might have looked a bit dodgy with your windswept.
Listen,
hair.
Leanne, I always look dodgy. So
it's those
But
yellow
I'd be
pants,
asking
Tim.
too.
That's a warning sign to the security, isn't it? The cravat, the
I'd be
smoking
asking
jacket, the
Shouldn't wear
navy
your
blue
pants over your
blazer.
trousers, though, Tim. It's a bad look.
what? Sorry.
Shouldn't wear your yellow pants over your trousers, though. It's a bad look.
I know. I was. In all fairness, I thought there was an upstep of security last night. I noticed it when it was linked to Appleton and when it was just linked to the 4,000 Sheffield United fans. I don't know, but there was police in the North, and they seemed to be looking at people. I couldn't quite work out what was going on. It seemed a bit strange. We'll have to get them on to ask them, John.
That police P&E special never happened, did it? The moment's gone now.
That was what I was alluding to, really.
The moment's gone. If we play them again next season, we'll get them back on. Right, 6 back in it. Second half, Big Marv and Big Gaz. What a combo. What a strike, Connor. Football. Pure total football with that goal.
Yeah, just classic chaos ball. You know, to be fair, it's a good set piece, and to his credit, I think attacking set pieces are one of the few things we're doing really well under Appleton. You know, it's one of the few parts of the game you can control as a coach, and we've seen an improvement there. You know, corner comes in, Gary Medine's able to knock it back across the face of goal, and Ekpateta can toe poke it in. You know, and you need.
Why did you struggle to say toe poke?
I don't know. I think I psyched myself out. Like, I fumbled the basic words, but Ekpateta did not fumble the basic chance. Hence proving he's a better man than me.
So you're normally so articulate, Connor, with
it's just talking about well-worked set pieces, John. It gets me all excited. So yeah, I think attacking set pieces we've really improved under Appleton. It was great to see, you know, that payoff in what could have been a big moment in this game. Just don't ask me about our defensive set pieces. That's a slightly different story.
Did we look more dangerous, going a bit more direct, Tim, in the second half?
I think we did, but without the problem that we've got, and it's a perennial problem for Blackpool, is that we don't seem to carve out enough chances. So if you actually analyse, we scored the goal, and if you actually analyse how many chances, clear-cut chances we had after that, they were minimal, weren't they? You know, we had plenty of possession, we had plenty of corners, we tried, we huffed, we puffed. And to be fair, I was willing us to get the equaliser. I really felt we deserved it. But when it comes to clear-cut chances, beyond that, I'm struggling to really think. Medine had a header, didn't he? It's Medine! But he put it over the bar. And that was probably the clearest cut chance I can remember in the last 30 minutes.
Carey as well. Should have gone far post, just... bit of an experience.
Yeah, but I do. Equally, listen, it's not. I'm not overly critical because I felt we had. Listen, they were hanging on at the end, and they were like time wasted and booting it out and coming out with all shithousery because they were concerned that we were going to get the equaliser. And I think you've got to give credit to the team and credit to the manager as well for the fact that we did actually put them on the back foot. But I just wish we'd created more clear-cut chances.
We looked a bit more solid when Dougal came on, didn't we?
He should have started. There's no doubt about it. He should have started.
No, I like him coming off the bench.
It's meant. Why would you bring your most experienced midfielder on after 70 minutes rather than start him when you're playing against one of the best championship teams out there? Sorry?
Most experienced doesn't necessarily mean that he's very good. He's got a bit of experience.
Well, that's where we did. That's where we did. But where I felt we were struggling in the first half was that we were losing. Listen, Patino for me has dropped off a bit anyway.
He wasn't very good last night, Patino.
Well, he hasn't been very good for about 6 weeks.
No.
But the reality of the situation is that putting two very young lads in the centre of what is an experimental midfield
bonkers
was asking for problems where you've got somebody who, listen, has been there, bought the T-shirt, who you know what you're getting with him. Now, I said, to be fair, I said before, he's a Marmite player because some players think he's great. Some fans think he's great. Some fans think he's poor, shouldn't be in the team. But the reality is he's our most experienced central midfield player. And we're trying to play a 3 and we don't play him. Work that one out. And we're playing Beesley. We could have put Carey out on that wing. We could have put even Patino out on that wing if we wanted to and put Dougal in the middle.
But he's sin sense. He's put him on the bench, Tim. Get over it.
That's my view.
Dougal's better slightly forward. He's better in a Patino role, I think. I don't think he's a particularly good defensive midfielder, Kenny. I've never have done. I think he's.
I agree, Pete. I agree. I think he's better.
I think he's better when he's pushed up a bit and he's got a bit of license to race because he's got that bite, but not enough bite to play behind.
He did all right last night, to be fair, when he came on.
I've always said, Pete, if you watch the pre-match warm-ups, he's one of the most clinical strikers of the ball. Going Dougal, he's got a great finish on him, and he just doesn't get into that.
Listen, I'd agree. I'd agree if we had Bridcut or Stewart
Yeah, exactly.
or Connolly to play in the defensive midfield role. But the reality is we haven't got anybody.
No.
So he is by default the best defensive midfield
he
player
is.
to play.
Mm.
So
I
why
think-
you don't play him? And you've got how old's Carey? 20 years old. You've got a 20-year-old, a 19-year-old, and then you've got a Maverick making up the three in the middle. And listen, none of them play badly, but they're always going to get carved up, and that's probably what caused.
And that's the manager's fault. Hashtag Appleton out.
I think part of it is we need to realise how we expect our midfield and particularly Kenny Dougal to operate within it has changed drastically. You know, it used to be that you'd have Dougal and Stewart or Dougal and Ward operating in a little double pivot. There'd always be two midfielders in the centre of the park, scanning, reading the game, etc. And one of them might go a little bit further up, in which case the other would stay deep, and the other one might go, etc. But, you know, there was always two of them kind of splitting the ground they needed to cover between them, splitting the work they needed to do between them. And I think in that, Kenny Dougal did all right. You know, he was a reasonably solid, reasonably competitive midfielder. When you put him in a 4-3-3 as the base midfielder, and he's expected now to kind of be that anchor and cover all that defensive ground pretty much, you know, on his own, he's not got the facilities for that, big man. Like, he's not fast enough. He can't eat up the ground well enough. He's just not an elite defensive midfielder. And there are very, very few of those in the league, in the world, whatever. It's no shade, you know, it's no fault on him that he isn't one, but it's one of the toughest jobs in football to do, probably being like a number 6 in a, you know, 4-3-3. And he just can't do it, you know? And I think it's unfair to expect him to ask that, and unfair to expect him to perform the same way he did when he had somebody helping him alongside under Critchley.
Mm. Okay, just to see our review to the game out, 0.7 second half improvement. As mentioned earlier, I had a quick look at the stats before. We had a higher XG, 1.41 to their 1.04. We had more shots, we had more possession. And all right, we didn't absolutely look like we were going to get back into the game. It was a much improved second half performance, and we were unlucky to not get a point, I thought, from.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of expanding on the points I made earlier. I was there. I was willing us to, you know, those few corners towards the end that we had a bit of a run of corners, didn't we? And long throw-ins. I was willing us to get the goal back because I actually felt we deserved it. And I think the biggest credit you can give to our team is that they were resulting to the ultimate shithousery, and they were just booting it into touch, and they were playing very much, you know, a rear guard action against us, and we deserved more out of that game than we got, and that's probably the story of our season in a number of respects, and will probably ultimately be our undoing. But I've got to say, I was quite proud of the players last night. I thought they gave a good account of themselves, and I don't criticise Appleton for any of his substitutions. I think he got the substitutions right. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you just got to say you've been undone by a very, very good and a very expensively put together and very well drilled team, and we did.
And they were rattled towards the end, so sitting behind you away dugout. Like the last 10 minutes, whenever Thompson got a throw in, they were always shouting, "Oh, foul throw, Lino, watch for the foul throw," etc., trying to get him caught out. You had like 5 of you Sheffield United's backroom staff all getting in the full fish and Lino's ear about how Dom Thompson takes a throw in. It was
we were
like
unlucky not to score in the last few minutes, to be fair.
Like, it was slightly comedic and slightly pathetic, you know, like, and certainly not the confidence with which you'd expect a kind of top 2 side to act.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to player ratings. First up, Dan Grimshaw. Let's start with you, Leanne. Danny Grimshaw.
I don't know. Why have you started with me? 6. 5.
5? Really?
He didn't really make many amazing saves, did he?
Is
Like
this
the
the
first 2 goals,
is
they
this
had
the
2
Leanne
chances to
scoring
score.
system, not the rest of us system?
Mine's a normal scoring system. If any of you give any Blackpool players like 10 or something,
11.
you don't do it right.
He's not. Listen, Grimmy wasn't a 5 last night. Come.
What would you
He
say?
didn't have a lot to do. To be fair.
No,
you're right,
Six
Pete.
was okay.
No,
I'd
Pete, he
said
didn't.
6 or a 7.
He didn't have a lot to do, and their first 2 goals, literally, that was the first 2 chances they had, and he didn't really do much. So yeah, 5, 6.
What was he expected to do with the first?
Give it. Use the fielding player rating system, Leanne. 5+. Just annoy
say
Tim.
6 to
Plus,
stop
no,
Tim
annoy
getting
Tim.
in a flat.
Annoy Tim. Keep it at a 5. Keep it at 5.
Yeah, go on, annoy me.
CC Connor, Callum Connolly. Because I struggle saying Callum Connolly.
Yeah, I'd give him a 7, probably, maybe a 7-.
He's my favourite player so far this season.
Like he's fairly solid defensively. He's got actually quite a mean long ball on him. I can see why he's a set piece taker. I thought he did the job that he's asked. His makeshift
He never
right
does
back
anything
job,
wrong,
did it
does
very
he?
well. Yeah,
He never makes any
go. Callum Connolly, that was a clanger.
Yeah.
And again, this was another game where I think he did his job and did it quite well.
There's never any Thompson-esque errors in Callum Connolly's game, is there?
No.
Time.
Big Marv Pete scoring his first of the season, which surprised me. And
I thought he had his best game of the season last night. He didn't really do anything wrong. Scored a goal. I think he's got to be an 8.
yeah, he was up there. Jimmy husband Tim.
I thought he did okay. I mean, I hear the calls for the fact that he was badly positioned for the first goal, but I think that's nitpicking at what was otherwise a fairly solid performance. 7. 7.
Leanne Don Thompson, man of the match.
He was
Sponsors
man of the match.
match.
Do you know what? You just gave someone an 8. I'm going to give him an 8. Because he played well and he gets some shit. Don't get me wrong. Me and Paul were chatting before the game about him. And we were saying he's very hit and miss. Like he's had some shockers. But then he's had some good games. It's like, oh, what's it going to be tonight? And he played well. So just to annoy everyone who was slagging him off, 8.
I sort of agree with you. I thought he was pretty good. I think his distribution sometimes let him down, but
Particularly to
I thought
Medine.
defensively
Medine
was
was
great.
getting very frustrated with him too.
Yeah, did you see them all?
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing.
But
He did
played
all
well.
right, but and there's a caveat. There's always an error he makes. Seems to be an error in a game, and it always
He's a bit
leads
of
to
a
a goal.
target for the Boo Boys, though, isn't he?
And he's still a young lad. What is he, 22?
Yeah.
I think I thought, I don't know whether he was man of the match, but I thought he had a decent performance defensively,
I agree.
particularly decent performance.
He was all right.
thought
That's it. He was all right. I don't think. I'm not sure it was an 8. I'm actually going to
Well,
disagree. with
he asked me, didn't he, Tim? So
I know he did. I know. Listen,
Yeah.
we're never going to
overrule him.
agree.
Overrule him.
We're never going to agree, are we?
I'm going to give him an 8.
You do
But-
that, Leanne.
Give him a 9, Leanne. Go on. Give him a 9.
Yeah,
Just
no.
pissed it up.
Give him a 10 and the keys to the titty.
You're glad you got back
Stick him
early
in
now,
8.
Tim.
Jesus. Northern Rail, you should have had me late.
Connor, Charlie Patino. I'm flat to deceive again.
I think Charlie Patino is a 5+ or a 6-. I like him. I think he does great stuff on the ball. I think he's a clever player, and I think he's surprisingly tenacious. Like he's surprisingly tough in the air and in the tackle when you compared to what you expect given the size of him. But it just doesn't seem to be clicking for him in the last couple of weeks. Like those cute balls or those spectacular long balls never seem to come off in the same way they used to. I don't know if that's because he's failing or if just because he's playing in a team where they're unable to read those balls or have the quality to bring them down. But it just isn't clicking for him at the moment. And for that reason, I probably can't give him any more than a 6 or a 6-.
Fair.
He and Carey would just benefit massively from the central midfielder that we all know we need.
Sonny Carey, Pete.
I thought he was in the game quite a lot, actually. And again, just the same points as I just made. You know, he would benefit from that protection. And he sort of got forward even more once Dougal was on the pitch. And the Sky people said that he scuffed that shot. Well, I wish I'd scuffed a few shots like that in the past because I thought he hit it pretty well. Yeah, he could have gone across the goal, but, you know, it was a good save. I thought he did
I thought he
okay.
played well,
I like
Carey,
him.
yeah.
And he's getting better.
I like
you know,
Carey.
I like Carey.
I think I've
He had a
given
great
him
game at
7.
Huddersfield, at Huddersfield, at Hull, I thought.
Yeah, he did. I think 7 plus, something like that.
I think you're right, Pete. With the right player next to him, gives him a bit more freedom to make those attacking runs and make things happen. I think we've got a good player on our hands there. But yeah, Carey had a good game. Ian Poveda, Tim, call him what you want. Added a bit more bite to our attacking.
Yeah, and listen, and I know he's apparently because of ego and fallouts to the manager, he's probably not played as much as he should have done. But I think we've started to see over the last few games that he started to show what we saw when he came on that substitute performance, whenever that was, when he played 10 minutes. Was it Blackburn? I can't remember now. He played well at Hull, got yanked because of the sending off, so we didn't see what, he should have scored in the first half. He had a great goal. And I've only mentioned Hull because I think there's a pattern. I think we're starting to see Poveda as a player now, and I think arguably he was our best player last night. I think it was a bit unfortunate to get pulled, but I think Appleton's just looking to change it, see if something different happens. So he's getting an 8 from me, probably my man of the match. But I might come to that. But
I'd give him an 8 too, Timothy.
So you do agree on something?
Me and you, Leanne. Sometimes we agree.
Peas in a pod.
Aren't we?
Jake Beesley, Leanne, did okay in an unfamiliar position.
Don't know.
Faded a bit, I think.
6.
Fair.
I don't want to be too critical because I still think, obviously, he's not played for ages, has he? And he's not bad. Maybe just a bit of a fitness thing, getting back at 6.
Fair enough. Connor, Big Gaz, where's he at? There it is.
Big Gary Medine.
I thought Medine was quality yesterday, personally.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I'd give Medine an 8.
I was going to do me Matt. I was going to be Matt.
What's that?
What's
That's Matt's bald head. Baldy Heath.
I thought you were like passing the judgment of death with a cap on.
Oh, not for Gary. Good grief.
No, I thought Gary was
Medine
excellent.
was
He obviously set up Ekpateta for our goal. Provided an outlet ball the entire game, kind of semi-reliably. Still a very, very effective head baller when we need him to be. Lasted the entire game. Did his part in the pressing and the closing people down, which has been a quibble I've had with him sometimes in the past. Like, I can see, I think he's just a vital part of the way we play. He was a vital part of the way we played this game. And I can see, with quite frankly the sheer abuse he was shouting at the ref and the linesman at times, why Appleton's elected to make him our captain. Like, he gets stuff done on the pitch in more way than one.
Do you remember that one where he chested it down to Poveda and he got pulled back for it? But it was exquisite. It's sort of, I'm taking Matt's role on tonight, but
he's such an important player for us.
The only thing that frustrates me sometimes, I think sometimes he's more focused on his battle with the centre half than he is on actually winning the ball. And I sometimes think, just fucking concentrate on the ball rather than nudging him or pushing him in the back. And so I think he does give some unnecessary fouls away, but
holds his space very well though, Tim, as well.
Yeah, it does. It does. And listen, that the counterbalance. Listen, I'm not having a go. I say sometimes I think just be a bit cuter because there's one bit where the ball came in and he basically just shoved his opponent in the back, and it was so blatant.
He did that though as well. I know which bit you're referring to because they got a free kick for it, didn't they? But I think that was in anger at someone, I can't remember who it was now, got fouled literally like 2 seconds before. And I think that was more out of frustration, just pushed him because he was pissed off about it.
I still love his goal at Coventry away.
He's great, Gary Medine. Yeah. I know he's not everyone's favourite, but he did well last night.
I'm out of the match. Medine was, yeah.
Well, we're pretty bollocks anyway, but you know what I mean. Even more bollocks.
Right, to close this off, Jerry Yates, pretty anonymous yesterday, Jezza, in a stupid 4-3-3. What can he do in that?
I don't think we make the best of him, which is unfortunate. Whether he's looking elsewhere. I hear a few rumours, don't you, about where people might be going in January. But he tries hard, he puts his effort in, but it was to little avail, I thought.
He's hamstrung playing in that position for me.
Massively. And this is why we're not playing our best players to their strengths. So I do have a lot of sympathy for him, but I thought he could have done more yesterday. I'm going to go 6 plus.
You were going to.
He said 6.5.
You were just about to invent a new player rating system there, Tim, with decimal points.
It was 6 plus.
Right, man of the match, very quickly, Leanne, go.
Can I have 2?
No.
Poveda.
Is that new player we've just signed?
Yeah. Thompson. I'll have to go with Thompson. Poveda.
You sure?
Yeah.
Positive?
Yeah.
Connor?
Ekpiteta.
Pete?
It's Marv or Gary for me.
I'm going for Medine, if that wants to influence your thinking at all.
Well, I feel a bit sorry for Marv because Gary's consistently good. Marv's been bloody. I'm going to give it to Marv for coming back strong after some poor
A
performances.
pity vote.
No, he just played well, didn't he?
He did, to be fair, yeah.
Tim?
And the yin and yang are aligned. Poveda.
Thought you were going to say Dougal then.
Poveda.
Real mix across the board there.
Yeah. There's no standout, was there?
No.
The reality is there's no standout, but the reality is there's some. Listen, I thought we played as. I wouldn't say it's the best we can play, but we were good.
We were last night.
We didn't deserve to lose.
No, we didn't.
And that's a positive that we could take. Obviously, we've got Sunderland coming up.
We're going to beat Sunderland.
Is he right? Embleton's broken his leg.
I hope so. Oh, no, I don't think
Oh,
Only because I mentioned a Sunderland to the Walking Football. Our chairman at Walking Football is a Sunderland fan, and he says, "Oh, I think you might. We've got a few injuries, so you might do all right on New Year's Day." And I said, "No, don't worry. We'll be undone by the holy trinity of Ballard, Embleton, and Sims."
Back? Is Ballard
Sims.
back?
Ballard set up Sims's winner in the 90th minute the other day.
I heard that Embleton was.
But then
in
he said
Blackpool today.
Embleton's broken his leg, which I've not heard.
I didn't mean that, by the way.
I heard that Embleton was
She's
in
feeling
Blackpool
guilty
today, Tim.
now.
And
Sorry?
he was in B&M bargains, and some silly cow bloody took him out with a shopping trolley full of bloody.
Well, that might be it. Was that your missus?
Was it
Is there anything
Leanne?
you
It
want
was
to tell the
Leanne.
group?
It was
no,
Leanne.
no, there was someone was out this morning with a shopping trolley.
Leanne was
It was
in.
me. I was in home bargain.
You were in home
Yeah,
bargains
that's the
today,
one.
weren't you?
Yeah,
Or
he
was
was
it
in home
B&M bargains?
bargains. It was all right until he got
Buying
platted.
my candles.
Right, let's move on to Sunderland quickly. Let's pick a team. We've not done this in ages. There was a Sunderland fan in the chat before. Let's pick a team to beat Sunderland. Formation wise, I'm all over 4-4-2 and I'm done with 4-3-3.
Yeah.
Connor, formation first.
Yeah, 4-4-2. Clearly.
Pete.
Yeah,
Right, let's do it. Right, Grimmy in net.
Yep.
Right back.
He's Thornley. How many
Yeah,
games is Thornley out for? Just one?
He's back. I think he's back. One
Yeah.
No,
game.
he got a
Yeah,
straight red.
yeah.
He'll be out for 3 games.
For me personally, my back four would be Connolly, husband.
We're doing right back, Leanne.
Okay.
Right back.
Mind you.
I get excited.
Wind your neck in.
Right.
Well, we've only got one option at right back, haven't we?
Yeah.
Connolly, every day of the week.
Who ain't a right back? Centre half, Ekpiteta's in there, isn't he, straight away? I'm sure I read that Husband's only out for what? Thornley's out for 1 game.
I thought it was only 1 game, but
I think it's one game. It wasn't sort of foul play, was it? It was
No,
just like
it's one game.
I think it's one game, so I think you've got Thornley in there.
Why is Husband out? He didn't pick up a yellow this game.
No,
Well, it might
playing
not
left
be
back.
out yet.
No, we haven't picked the left back yet. Who we have in centre half?
Thornley.
Upsetter. Connor,
I'd put Husband in.
would you?
I think he'll
I
put
wouldn't.
Husband in, but I would actually put
No,
Thornley
it's
in.
our team, Tim. I keep
Thornley.
Put Thornley, yeah.
Right, we're putting Thornley in, and we're putting Husband at left back because I don't want any more. I don't want Thompson costing us another goal.
See, they're the four I was just going to say as well.
Oh yes, 4-4-2. Should we just put Medina and Yates up there to start with?
Yeah.
Just answering the question in the thread about Andy Lyons. My understanding is we can only register him on New Year's Day, and then he has to wait 24 hours. So the first game is
I'd forgotten
available.
about him.
Who?
Andy Lyons.
Someone just asked, can he not play?
They were saying,
but
somebody was
so
saying,
he could play in the next game, but he can't play on on New Year's Day.
somebody
Craig
was saying
Perrin's
that
confirmed husband's back, by the way. So
someone was saying that Appleton said that he won't be ready, won't be considered for a few games.
Well, that's madness.
right.
I
Anyway,
I don't know how
anyways,
true
right.
that is. That was on AVFTT early, not long before it came on.
Centre mid. Dougal's going in there for me. Tim, is Dougal going in?
So Kenneth is making his comeback. I
The
think.
Kenneth of Dougal needs to be warming that bench up.
Connor, you've
For
got
me-
the casting vote.
I agree. My instinct is to go with Dougal, and then I
Yes.
put
I was just starting to
there he
like
goes.
him.
I'll probably
there
put
he
Patino
goes.
in alongside him. Actually,
Where's Carey going? Is
Carey
going out
would
wide?
start on the bench under this.
No.
Yeah.
Look, you're all like, oh
That's
no, but
fine.
you remember when Critchley used to play a 4-4-2, and we used to clamour for Carey to go in it, and then he did, and he was shit. Like we've seen Sonny Carey under a 4-4-2.
Let's pick
and
the
he's
wingers
not that
first, then.
great.
Let's pick the wingers first. I'm putting Hamilton in.
Yeah.
Kill me now. Shoot me down.
You're not.
Shall I
Is
drop
Beasley
him?
not getting a shout out there,
No,
John?
that's ridiculous. No.
Will Josh be available then?
No. It was in Polton last night.
Was he?
Bowler.
Yeah. It's in a
Was he?
picture of it, so it's not.
Who was?
it's
Bowler.
Josh Bowler.
Is there a reason we're going for Hamilton and not Lavery and Poveda?
I'd go for.
Lavery's
would
not
go
a
Lavery
winger.
in it.
Lavery's not a winger.
Yeah, but I'd
I'd
play
take
Lavery
Dougal
because he's
out.
hard. Hamilton's an impact sub, so I'm with Connor.
Oh, okay. Well, I've just dropped him in there, so I'm
How
going with
about
the
putting
majority.
Carey
You can always
out
take him
there?
out again.
Yeah, I can, yeah.
How about putting Carey out wide, or
Not a bad
Yeah.
shout.
where Patino is and put Patino out wide?
I'd
What
put
about
Carey out
dropping
wide.
Patino? He's not doing enough.
I think Patino could be dropped in this system. So
Put Carey out wide.
I'm having Carey and Dougal in the middle. And I'm dropping Patino.
I think you've gone mad with power, John.
I
Are
think
Arsenal going to
it's-
take Patino back, do you think?
Is the Putin of podcasting?
Not yet.
I don't think Arsenal will take Patino back. Arteta has spoken very publicly about he wants being on loan to build character as well as technical ability. Like Patino's getting game time, and what's more character building than being in a struggling championship side?
I
Yeah.
believe
Being in,
his dad
being in a
wanted
struggling League
Appleton
One
as well.
side. I think it's time to drop Patino, personally.
And you're playing Dougal? Oh.
Right,
Different
Leanne.
players.
Right. Let's go around the room. Leanne, give me yours 2 centre mids.
I just have to change it up a bit and have Carey and Poveda.
What?
I just have to bring him in, put him there.
Connor.
Yeah, but you do that in a 4-3-3, not a 4-4-2.
Yeah.
Just
Connor.
try it. He's a good
Dougal
player,
Patino
isn't
is my midfield.
Dougal Patino. Pete. Centre
Carey
mid.
Patino.
Carey Patino. Tim.
Dougal Patino.
It's going to look like Patino's in there, then, doesn't it? Oh, well, in he goes. Right, wingers. Poveda's got to be out there, hasn't he? Surely.
Poveda's playing. I'd play him on the right hand side personally.
Oh, shit.
He's
He's
not
not
in.
There he is. Yeah, I agree, Tim. Poveda. The final spot. Ladies and gents, the final spot on this on the left mid.
Have we considered playing Dom Thompson as a left winger?
It's worth a try.
Put him higher up the pitch, further away from our goal, where he can do less damage.
It makes more logical sense than playing Beesley as a right midfielder, doesn't it? Right winger.
Could work.
Right.
You won't do it, though.
No, that's just mental. Leanne,
Can-
who you
can-
put in there?
Well, can Carey play there?
Yeah. Carey or CJ for me.
Yeah, me too.
I'd start CJ on the bench.
I'd start CJ.
No
CJ's
bench,
getting.
aren't
I think CJ's getting a bit of a bum deal this season. Personally,
Yeah, me
joking
too.
aside, I think he's had
Yeah.
he's been all right this season.
Off the bench.
Right, put your hand up if you want CJ.
Excuse me, I've got a woofer in here and what are you getting? Wait. There we go. Sorry.
You got one vote, John.
I've got two, Pete. Connor.
I don't mind.
No, he was sorting his dog out.
Everyone
here
in the
now.
chat saying CJ. Look,
I think it's
I'm going
Lavery.
CJ.
Lavery for me.
Nah.
Leanne, you've got the casting vote then.
Lavery. Seeing as you've put Dougal in, just going to annoy you. But no, I'd rather have Lavery. I like Lavery.
All right.
Tim, wait.
And then after 2 minutes, I'd be making a sub and taking Dougal off and putting, don't know.
Right, I'm going to
I can't
screenshot that.
see it. I'd be putting Carey on.
All right, screenshot. I'll put it on Twitter. All right, let's get rid of that. Right, just before we head off, I've created a few little post-match questions, and the first one is Clappleton not going over to the away fans' gate. Damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. Where does everyone stand on this?
Same, I agree. Can't win, can he?
It was causing
Hull will go
problems
over.
at Hull. It was causing problems at Hull because a lot of fans were saying, "Where is Appleton?" Where at the end.
Well,
But it's
Well, so they
toxic,
can feel
isn't it?
abuse that.
So
they all
I
want him to
agree.
come
should-
over to abuse him, though, don't they?
I know,
the
I know.
reason.
Yeah.
And exactly. It's the same Muppets who were singing "You're Getting Sacked in the Morning."
I'd be the same if I was Appleton. I go, well, fuck that. I'm not just going to go over there to get a lot of abuse.
And he
He's
gave a
human being
logical
at the end of the day.
explanation post-match, which was, if I go over, it creates negativity, which is another issue as to why there is that negativity. And I think it's right. When the players have gone over to celebrate with the fans, there was positivity at Hull. We should, to be honest, even with 10 men, we should have won the game. And if he goes over, it breaks the positivity, which he doesn't want to do. So 100%, he couldn't win. Couldn't win. Whatever he did, he couldn't win.
Oh. I agree.
Anyone else? Anyone else while I write a tweet while I'm streaming?
No, I should just ignore them. Bloody go. Let the players take it and get on with his job.
We don't pay him to clap fans. We pay him to win football managers. That's the area where he's failing currently, and that's the area where we need him to focus. You know, saying he's rubbish because he doesn't clap, I think, is missing the point.
Heckingbottom put Quitchley to shame last night as well with his arm
I noticed
waving.
that. I noticed that.
He did it twice.
I think we've had enough badge kissing and lapping up in front of the fans, anyway, haven't we? I think
Right.
we all got sucked into that, and it leaves a bitter taste.
Yeah, it does.
Right, finally, Michael Appleton back or sack. I think it's safe to say that something needs to happen either way. Leanne, do we back him? Do
Yeah,
we sack him?
back him. You've got to back him. Give him money to spend. Back him.
Connor.
It's not a strong opinion, but if you put a gun to my head, I'd say sack him. You know, when I think about where he's been successful in the past, he's had those wide players and forwards like Anthony Scully, Brennan Johnson, Morgan Rogers, who kind of take people on, win 1v1 duels. And we can go out and buy those players. We can buy better versions of Corbino, Poveda, Anderson, whoever, to try and do that. But it feels a little bit to me like rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. It's very easy to go and fix offensive problems by going and buying players. You can spend the money and do that. But it's much harder to buy a better defense, because defensive play is more about systems and much more influenced by systems than the individual player. So I think even if we were to back Appleton and we were to buy him the best players in the world, for our budget, I have zero confidence he would be able to make us more solid at the back, make us a better, well-drilled team that isn't going to concede goals. And there's no point spending an extra, 5 million on attacking players, spending the bowler money on attacking players, if we're still going to ship so many goals every single game. Until that's sorted, it's an uphill battle. And I don't think Appleton's the man to solve that problem. So if it was a choice between backing him or sacking him, I probably want to go and have a look to see if we can get a manager who we think can better drill this side into a hard-to-beat defensive unit, like we were under Critchley at times.
I just don't know who would replace him, though.
No, it's a valid point, and that's why if I could see somebody who I knew could do that in our budget, I'd say sack Appleton in a heartbeat. So that's why my opinion isn't that strong, because I don't know who that alternative is.
No.
But I'm not convinced that backing him is going to solve the problem, because our problem isn't, in skillful attacking wide players. Our problem is in defence, and you can solve that by drilling players better, and he just isn't doing that so far.
Yeah, I know you're right.
Pete, back him or sack him?
Back him. I think he's just not had a chance since he's walked through the door, personally. And they've got to back him as well. It's no good just, keeping him on and then not failing to bring anyone in like they did in the summer and last January, really. What's the point of that? Simon Sadler might as well take over and run it. You can't do it like that. I think we've got to back him completely and try and get the players in. If they want to get those experienced players, as I said before.
Yeah.
Tim, it's a fair point what Pete said. The big thing that sticks in my mind was when Michael Appleton completely ruled out re-signing Grant Ward, and then all of a sudden he's back signed and playing again, and at right back. So that illustrates to me how little he has been backed and how poorly he's been supported by the recruitment side.
Same out with Medine as well, didn't it? Did he not suggest that Medine was going to be used sparing this season? But he's basically played probably more football this year than he's ever played in the rest of his career. And this is where you've got the conundrum, haven't you? But and it's to be fair, I'm regurgitating some of the points others have made. But on the one hand, you can see he's being dealt the shittest hand you're ever going to get. I think the fact that the recruitment team has been given notice of termination tells us that what was planned has not happened and is perceived to be a failure. But on the other hand, he's obsessed with trying to shoehorn players into a system that he wants that doesn't actually suit what we've got. And I think he needs to be more pragmatic. Now, Mike, if he's prepared to be more pragmatic, then I would stick with him, but I don't think he will be. So I'm on this sort of literal fence of
I think Tim, this Sunderland game that'll be it.
It's pivotal, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if he plays a 4-3-3 against Sunderland, that says to me he's a pighead and he will not alter his tactics.
Sean said this, didn't he? Sean said to us right from the beginning, he will stick with 4-3-3 come what may.
He did,
and I think we've seen that, but it's to the detriment of what the players we've got available. Now, until he can get that transfer window, we'll hear stories that we're going to get Bogle back and there's maybe a midfielder coming in, and we've got Andy Lyons, of course, to add to the complement. We've got all, we don't need to revisit all the injury issues. But the reality is the current players we've got suits a 4-4-2. It does. It's just, there's no doubt about it. That is the best system. And I don't think he's going to play it. And for that reason, I'm probably edging towards replacing him.
Yeah. I think I was a bit on the fence, but this conversation now is
I feel sorry
solidified
for him.
I think he should be sacked.
Yeah, I do.
Critchley went to a 4-4-2 when he realised we were dog shit at 4-3-3. We were going down. As soon as he changed that 4-4-2, we were pushing for the playoffs. And you've got to be pragmatic in football.
And that's where you'll get your goals from Yates and Medine. That's where they'll come. And they are.
I mean, it's where you'll get your goals.
They are
from
two of our best players.
Yeah.
Medina make plenty though.
I want to support him because he's the manager. And don't get me wrong, there's things he does which I do not agree with at all. But it's just,
they do sack him. They've got to get who's going to bring a feel good back.
All right,
let's sacking it and then bring in another Joe Average.
Yeah, and that's what I think will happen.
Light the place up because if it'll just be like everyone will just go, "Fuck's that? We've just had a one we didn't want. Now we've got I think Neil Wood was being bandied around the message board earlier on. I mean, bloody hell, if that's that's the sort of caliber of person we're going to get, then it's just going to be crack on as we are.
The rumours going around is it's a young youth team manager that we'll look to if they decide to dispense with Appleton services.
Yeah, I've just heard that. A Man United youth team manager or something.
Right.
So they're sort of out of the Critchley mode.
Yeah.
Great. Another badge kissing, body warming dick.
Good.
Hopefully, as part of his induction, he'll be told not to kiss the badge.
Get Ollie back.
At least.
It's part of the onboarding.
Get Ollie back.
BFC HR, take notes.
Pay him the money. It'd be brilliant, wouldn't it?
Yeah, he would.
Right, let's call it a day there. Let's just go around the room for Sunderland predictions. Leanne.
3-2 Blackpool.
1975 revisited.
For those of a certain vintage.
For those of a certain vintage, of course.
Connor, if we play a 4-4-2, Blackpool score.
2-1 Blackpool.
Hey, Pete, if we play a 4-3-3, what's the score?
Oh, bloody hell.
2-0 Sunderland.
2-0 Sunderland, yeah.
Tim, if we play a 4-4-2, what's the score going to be?
3-1 Sunderland. I think they're going to be too good for us. I think they're on a roll.
Yeah.
I think Sims is going to score twice just to rub the salt into the proverbial wounds.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I think somebody going to win. And then it's going to be a pivotal game for Appleton. And I think he's going
to come back to Raggy's old Ndiaye, which is giving the whole of the East to away fans. And it's nothing worse. There's nothing worse when you lose, is there, than have the whole side of that ground.
Sunderland have got a really good support as well.
I know.
I think Raggy's right, though. I mean, I think the price, it's another subject, isn't it? But I think the pricing structure for the pay on.
Well, it's interesting, and I think to be fair, I'm regurgitating something I've previously said on the pod. But I sat next to Hubby at the presentation even last year, and I asked him. It was just after the Derby game, and I asked him. I said, "Oh, what do you think about the crowd? It was like 14,000, 15,000 on." And he said, excuse the vernacular, we fucking hate it when they give the whole of the East to the away. That's the players.
Yeah.
Because he said it gives them an advantage. And he said, if you're playing down that side, you're getting it in your face all the time. There's no respite. And he said it's not pleasant. And that's a player. That's an experienced player saying that to you. So I have to endorse. I know, Leanne, you don't always agree with everything Raggy says, but I do agree with him on this point. I think we surrender an advantage when we give the whole of the East to away fans. Yeah. Now, whether there's a compromise where you give them part of the South, I don't know. But we need to look at that, because having fans all the way down there to the ground means that all of the game They're getting support as they attack, and that's
well, then
the
that's
point.
why the Blackpool fans need to get behind them and stop
Yeah, yeah.
booing the manager, because it's all. I do the same. It's money. It's money for the club. Charge them 30 quid a pop. We need the money. But that's why the Blackpool fans need to get behind them,
the
not taking
configuration. The configuration isn't good because it means they can really get behind. Listen, when we've all been there, haven't we? You go to an away game, as we were at Hull. You're stuck in the corner. We're in the corner, and we're probably at the most optimum place for having the least influence, atmosphere-wise, on the game. When you give an opposition the whole of the length of the ground, you change the dynamic because well, most certainly, we all have a view, don't we, that when we're attacking the north, we've got like a little bit more, we get a bit more vocal.
Yeah, because you get
but they're at it hammer and tongue for 90 minutes. So, so unless we're going to pack out the south, which we're not doing, is the short answer. Unless we're going to pack out the south and create a better atmosphere in there, the reality is that we're surrendering home advantage when we give the whole of the east.
Need to do some kid games.
Yeah,
get it busy.
And by doing that, Tim, it's giving them the advantage to win the game, so we don't get any points. We get relegated, and that's £8 million.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
So
we might have got an extra 10 grand off the away fans and fleecing our fans at the same time, which means they don't actually come. Where if it was 20 quid to get in, they'd come. But listen, there's conversations there, and I can understand the economics of it. But the reality is the net effect, because of where we put them, I would personally, if you're doing that, I would reposition those in, X and Y block or whatever. I'd reposition. It might be controversial.
They're always empty anyway, Tim, aren't they? They're always empty.
I know. I'd reposition them and move them into that corner, and then keep the north and keep the north either empty or as an overspill for us. That's what I'd do if you're going to do that, because not
then,
good.
What do you do with the east? Because we don't fill the east. We're probably not going to fill the east for the foreseeable future. We don't sell enough
I think they're going to
tickets
start charging for the flasks in there, I've heard. So the flasks will be taking up a seat also, just for the extra.
That's the west.
Oh, right. Yeah, sorry. Ignore me. I've had a wine.
I know. Women can never navigate, can they?
I was actually reading a message I got before just to say we're actually 1 point worse off under Critchley at this point of the season.
Are we really?
Yeah.
Is that all
so
it is?
that's what I was trying to find it. Sorry, I wasn't concentrating. It's at 1 point.
Right.
Same point of the season, 1 point worse off Critchley. Just wanted to put that out there.
Is that all? I find that remarkable. I knew it's a close division this year.
It is very close, but I just wanted to put that out there. We're 1 point this point of the season to what Critchley was, so we need to bear that in mind and get off the Appleton out bandwagon.
We really do.
Support them, be louder than Sunderland, and get behind them.
Right. On that rallying cry, I think we'll call it an evening.
It's almost Henry V-esque, that, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah.
I'm going to start beheading you all.
Leanne the First.
Leanne the First.
That was Henry VIII, wasn't it?
You'll have to have a bowl head, though, and if you're going to do the Henry V next time, we'll have to get you the old bowl head.
Right, Tim, I think we're getting a bit...
we are going to abstract.
Yeah. Let's leave it. Abstract, that's the word,
yeah.
Right, thanks for your company, everyone. It's been a good laugh. As
Happy
ever,
New Year,
good to get this off our chest. Yeah, happy Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody who's listening. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for downloading. And up the pool. Come on, the pool.
Come on, boys.
The pool.